one of the first things that people will probably notice about this game is that it's very inspired by a lot of movies. We've actually had a discussion going on between the members of our staff whether this is more of an Indiana Jones or Romancing the Stone kind of game. Any comments?
That's flattering, certainly. I think it's not any one particular influence. It's that a lot of people in the studio watch a lot of movies, play a lot of games, read a lot of books, comic books, TV, sort of all kinds of media. And sort of everybody has that one thing that they're very interested in, and then when they come to the table and sort of start talking about what they want to do, everybody sort of brings their own influences. Certainly, our biggest influence obviously is big budget action movies, and I think it shows in our gameplay. I mean, I think what we've done is take something like big budget action movie, but then make it our own. Really make it where you're playing this cinematic adventure where you come in and out of these cutscenes, and you go cutscene into a gunfight, into a traversal puzzle, into a real puzzle, into another cutscene, and it all blends seamlessly. So I think it's become sort of its own thing.
That's actually one of the things that I noticed while playing the game, because Nathan is a really cool hero because he doesn't seem to take himself overly serious. Whereas in a lot of other popular games today, you have to be as macho as humanly possible. Was that a hard decision for you to make?
Not really. I mean, I think Naughty Dog has never really taken itself too seriously. We have a very good sense of humor at the studio. And I think, part of what Uncharted is that tongue-in-cheek nature, and the fact that sort of Nathan Drake realizes as a character that he's in these ridiculous situations, and sort of comments on them just like a real person would. Like, oh, are you kidding me? I can't believe this is happening now. And I sort of think that feels actually much more real than trying to be sort of this fake macho character. I think he has this sort of softer side to him and this real side to him where it feels like I could go into a bar and I could run into Nathan Drake. He's a very real person, and I think one of the biggest reasons is that exact thing, that he's very self-effacing and makes fun of himself a lot.
It's almost impossible not to speak of the graphics and the work that has gone into the sound when looking at a game and listening to a game like Uncharted 2. Naughty Dog at every point of a console cycle seems to be a few steps ahead when it comes to technology, and especially now on the PS3 with Uncharted 2 just looking leagues ahead of any other game. Is there a secret, or are you simply better than everyone else at recruiting the right people?
It's magic. No, well, thank you very much. I mean, that's hugely flattering, obviously, and I think we've all been really working hard to create something special, but I don't think it's any one thing. I think we have very good people that work in the studio as part of it. We work at a very high level, but I think we identify something that's important to us and important to making the gameplay interesting and working for our story, and then that's the thing we go after. And I think that it just so happens that we're very good at identifying what makes the best gameplay and the best looking game sort of go, and they go hand in hand. And so we spend all of our time working on the right things. And I think it just so happens that Naughty Dog, that's one of their biggest skills, is being able to say, okay, these things are important and these things aren't, and sort of concentrating on the right things. So I think a lot of it is that we spend time on the things that matter as opposed to the sort of things that don't. So we're very good at identifying that stuff. And then I think part of it is also we have really good tools to work with. I think, the PS3 lets us do all these things. And, because we work so closely with Sony and we have this R&D team, we're able to develop things, very, very early and prototypes and stuff in order to get stuff running very, very quickly. And so, it's sort of all those things combined, I think, that let us make the games that we make.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it too, just like Justin said, I think a lot of it has to do with the high level of talent and skill we have there, but, a lot of it's about team chemistry. I think Evan and Christoph have really worked together to put together a team at the studio that really work well together and are very independent and motivated. A story that we've told before that, really sort of exemplifies the studio was at the end of the previous game when Christoph went to all the engineers and basically said, well, we've got some free time, go off and explore, some personal projects. And basically everyone went back and started hammering on the engine and try to make it better. And it was the fact that, everyone thinks like there's a little bit further they could push every step of the way up until its closing point. And I think that level of ambition just really shows through too. I mean, I think everyone at the studio that works like that really deserves a lot of credit for having that level of motivation.
For my taste, Uncharted 2 seems to be the first game that takes the next step in storytelling, because often when you play games, you have to sit there and say to yourself, yes, this is a game, and I can clearly see that compared to a Hollywood movie. But this seems to have the script, most of all the acting, the dialogue, everything. What do you see that you're doing that no other developer in the market are doing right now when it comes to storytelling? And is there any extra step that you would like to take with possibly Uncharted 3 in the future?
I mean, I think there's a lot of answers to that. I mean, I think one of the things we do very well, Arne sort of talked about, is the idea that we have this motion capture studio where we can record the audio and the performance at the same time, so we get very natural performances. So no matter what was written, it becomes much more believable. It becomes much more like a Hollywood set than it does like a video game set. We also work with great talent, and they try just as hard as they would on a regular movie, and so I think a lot of times people fall into this trap of hiring talent that sort of thinks, oh, it's a video game, I'm just going to do a throwaway performance, and we don't have that, which is awesome. And I think we do a really good job of sort of also using environment as character as well. So you sort of have this idea of these huge set pieces and stuff that really feel like the collapsing building is like a monster in itself, right? It's trying to kill you, and I think we sort of do a very cool job of that also, which helps blend it into making it feel more like a playable action experience, playable cinematic experience rather than anything else. But I think there are other games that do this, and like BioShock is a great example. I think they do a really, really good job of bringing the player into this world and making them believe it. And I think there are other games out there that are doing the same kind of thing that we are. I just think that we're happen to be very lucky with the talent that we have that produced the title, and the people that come in and read for us and all those things, that they all just work really, really well together. Yeah, it's all that stuff you put in at the end that makes the biggest difference. It's all those things you have time for. Like, we have people playing the game every day all the way through, so we could tell sort of where the down spots were, so we could fix the timing and all those things. The last-minute particle effect that makes a building look like it's dropping dust and things like that. It's all those little things that, everybody has this very high level of craftsmanship, and so they're trying to make it better all the time and adding until the point where it's like, okay, no more. So I think all those things sort of bring it to life for sure.
One last question, and I always ask developers this. With no limits to funds or anything, but with the team you have right now, is there any dream project that you would like to work on that isn't necessarily a new Uncharted or even a Jack and Daxter game?
Dream project? I mean, I'd love to do. I think for me, my interests are more online or multiplayer. I think Naughty Dog could make the defining co-op experience. We just haven't done it. So I'd love to do that, yeah. And if I had the whole team to do that, I'd do ridiculous things. So yes, I think that would be awesome.
I'm going to wuss out a little bit on this one. I've worked on a lot of games. I've worked on a lot of games, mostly outside of the development side, and this is my first foray into development. But everything here was like the awesomest thing. Like, I couldn't have stepped in a better job. No, I'm serious. This is not me angling for a raise from Evan. But seriously, like, it's hard for me to think about where to go next, because to me this was the dream project to stumble into, to be recruited and yeah, I know. Well, but I'm serious though. Like, I'm sitting here going, where do we go next? Because to me, I had no idea at the high level studio at how high quality our end product was going to be when I joined in, and that's the dream project. It's like, what's next? I have no idea.
I think everybody knew the game was really special, but nobody really knew how special it was until like later this summer. And so I think right now people are like, holy crap, like, wow, we did that. I think so everybody's working on it all the time, but I think when you finally see the whole project come together at the end, it's like, this project in particular is like I'm the most proud of this of anything I've ever worked on. And I think you look at it at the end and you're like, wait a minute, what? Like, how did this come out like that? And I think, I know what it is. When you go back and look at it, it's all the hard work and all the things. But it was definitely sort of surprising when you're like, oh my God, this game is, I think no one realized how big it was. Like, once we started adding up the time played and the multiplayer and all this stuff, it was like, oh my God, this project's enormous. So, but yeah, if I had unlimited money, I would do crazy co-op things. That's what I would say. I don't know what the game would be. Something awesome. Robotron X, yeah, exactly. Co-op Robotron X. Yeah, you heard it here first.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much,
Awesome,
man. Yeah.
awesome.
Nice meeting you.